And we are now recording. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope that this all works today. You and I both are learning this system as we go along. We had the training in June. We are finding little things here and there that need to be corrected. And so I appreciate everybody's patience and feedback because others are really doing a great job of fixing things as we find things that are wrong. But we'll do our very best. There were two things that I wanted to cover today. One was just how to go in and approve goals. And the other was just taking a look at the observation and how you, hit complete and things like that in the observation process. I will talk about formal observations in another call, probably next week, because I want to make sure that everything is set up properly with the forms and so on before I do that. So just today, I want to go through the goal approval because I know that there are some people who have submitted those already, and also the informal observations and just making sure that those are good to go. Any questions for me before I get started? I'm exercising wait time. Okay, so let's just talk quickly about the goals. So here I have the AC Sandbox account up, and you can see that I've done a couple different things. First of all, if you're not see over here where it says monitoring and achievement of growth goals, pretend that says, if you see, like right next to where it says the type 3 student growth goal, if you see staff initiates, that means that they have not started it yet. Okay. What I did here was I have two examples of what happens when you are in the process of approving. So here I have student growth goal number 1, and this is for year 2. So be cautious because what you want to do is make sure that you're in the correct year when you're going through the approval process. But because I want to show you both part 1 and part 2, I filled out both year 1 and year 2. So make sure that you're in the correct year to begin with, okay? So here's an example of, you'll see a red box here. And to the right of the area where it says view type 3 student growth goal, it says admin approval has been requested for part 1 defining the goal. So here you know that somebody has submitted part 1 of their type 3. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that button, and it's going to pull up a form just like the form that we had in the past. So here's the part 1, and I would just go through. Here's the description, here's my goal, grade level, subject area, whatever they have inputted with respect to part. Now, here's an interesting little thing. You'll see the staff sign off in some respects, and in cases, what we are finding is that Standard for Success allows for an electronic signature, but they have not tied the electronic signature to the Google sign-on. There is a way for staff members to develop an electronic sign-on. We'll cover that later on. Right now, you can go ahead and approve it without the electronic sign-on. I'm not. Is there a question? Because I hear some folks talking, and I want to make sure I answer so far if there are questions. If not, I would say go ahead and turn off your microphone because we can hear you. Candy, do you have a question? Hang on one second. Oh, no. All right. Going on. So for the staff sign off, I mentioned that already. basically what you can do is check one of these three areas. You can either say the section is incomplete, you can request changes, and if you request changes, then you go ahead and you can type in the changes that are requested of the teacher. And then you would hit the accept button here, this green button. If you're okay with the way things look, but you want to add, something else, say, looks great, or, don't forget to approved, please be sure to upload a student roster of data for tracking. I mean, whatever you want to give them in terms of additional feedback, go ahead and add that there. And then you're going to, again, click the green type 3 approval button there. That will send back a notice to them saying that their part 1 has been approved. And it's really important that we go ahead and do that because their part 2 will not be editable. So that's where they put in their baseline data and things. That will not be editable until we go ahead and approve their part 1. Okay. Now, there's been some questions I know about second semester. So we have some teachers that are not submitting by August 1st because, and this primarily happens at the high school level because we really don't have second semester courses at elementary and probably middle school as well. But I do have some high school teachers who are tenured, and they have to be tenured, that want to do a second semester course for their type 3. If that's the case, remember that they have until, I believe, February 1st to input their part 1 for their second semester course if they're utilizing that as their type 3. And some are choosing to do that, and that's perfectly fine. I do have worries about that I've expressed to our union management or our union leaders, because I worry that sometimes people forget and then they don't end up with a type 3 goal at all because they've forgotten that, they didn't do it in February. So that is up to the educator. So that's what we know or have with respect to the part 1 and deadlines. Now, you can see here, I have another situation here where they have submitted their part 2 to me. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. You can see there's the part 1 where we have the admin sign off. And then here is their part 2. So this is where they've put in their baseline data. They've put in their student growth goal. They've put in some strategies. They can also upload some information to spreadsheets. I have not uploaded anything for there, but you would be able to see the spreadsheet that they have uploaded here. And then again, for part 2, you can either say this is incomplete, you can request changes and let them know what changes they have, or you can go ahead and sign off. I've added a comment saying looks rigorous and aligns with the smart tree, and I'm going to go ahead and again hit the green button to save the approval for that. Okay, so I'm going to unhook the microphones here and see if anybody's got questions at this point. Okay, hang on. All right. Give me 1 second. Sorry about this, guys. Okay. Any questions? Allison, it says, I hear, does staff receive an email once they get the approval? Yes, they do. At least they should be getting an email when you have submitted. And remember, your emails come once a day. Theirs should be immediate. If not, please have them send in a support ticket to let customers know that they're not getting their email. Other questions? I can hear you now. I'm also going to quickly look in the chat here to see if there are any questions in the chat before I move on to the informal part. Okay, so Allison, I know you said I don't think they are. If that's the case, they really need to be checking in with, they really need to be sending a support ticket through here. And again, it's really easy for them to do so. They have directions on how to do so, but they go to the top where it says support ticket, and they would put in a support ticket to have their email checked. I do know that for a while they had turned off all of the emails.
Don't distract me from when I'm doing that.
They had turned off emails for a while, but they have turned those back on. Any other questions? Okay. All right, so let's just briefly go through the observations. So I have the observations that are typically required here, for informal and so on. I'm going to go ahead and start this one. Do remember that you can do a schedule if you want to. We don't typically schedule informals, but you can schedule informals. And remember, there was a really cool feature with this. If you want to let somebody else know that you are doing an informal, but not let the educator know. For example, I can schedule an informal for the 16th for AC Sandbox at 6:20 a.m. I don't need to do the pre-observation. I don't need to do any instructions there. And then I can send an email to an individual, not the teacher. And I have to hit this button here that says, do not notify the staff member if I don't want to let the staff member know that I'm doing the informal at that time. But I can let other evaluators know that I'm doing that informal at that time and hit save changes. And it will send them a schedule, like an invite that goes into their Outlook. You can do that for formals as well. Remember, only check the box to turn off notification to the teacher if you don't want the teacher to know. If you do want the teacher to know, you can just leave it and it'll send those calendar invites to everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and start informal observation number 1. This looks pretty standard. You can go ahead and put in your information. Remember that you can highlight and tag by domain. So let's say I want to pull up just domain 2. Needs improvement perhaps for that particular component. I'm going to do, you can go ahead and mark whatever you need to mark just like you have in the past. This particular feature. Also remember, we're using preliminary marks. We're not moving it over to final mark, and most people should have that as default already. When you have completed all the information that to the teacher, I'm going to say, no, there were no concerns in this observation. No, I am not requesting a conference with them, and I have to let the teacher know that it's there for them to review. So remember, I'm saving this, but they still don't see it yet, and that gives you the opportunity to go back in and make adjustments as needed. So when you are ready for them to see it, you're going to go ahead and click here to allow that. You're going to let them know that it's available for their review, and they will get a notification, or they should be getting a notification that they do have that in place for them to review. And you can see on the teacher's checklist that they have an observation here. It's dated today. The little V here means that it has not yet been viewed by Mr. Sandbox, and it tells them who did the informal. And so they can go in and take a look and review it. Once we are ready, let's say that they're all good, they don't want a conference, they've accepted the feedback. Remember, you can add comments here if you would like, and it will open up a box, and you can, add comments like, Sandbox did not wish to have a meeting. You can record that comment. And then when you're ready to close or complete that observation, you just go ahead and hit that green button, and it will complete that observation, and it turns that box green for complete, and it records the ratings that they had received. There also is a way to delete the observation. Not sure if you want to do that, but I believe only the person who has done the observation can delete it. You also can reopen it when it's been completed. Let's say you forgot something, but just remember that if you do that, you've got to give them at least 30 characters as to why you are reopening it, and hit submit. It will let them know, and then you would have to go back and close it again later on. Okay, I'm opening up microphones. Anybody have any questions so far? Where should we put strengths and opportunities for growth? Just go ahead and you can either put them in the comments section, or you can put them directly in the scripting area. I think that's a great place to put them, actually, because one of the things that we're going to want to work more and more on is making some clarifying statements with respect to where their professional is, and then adding the language as evidenced by X, Y, and Z. But we'll talk about that at a later time. So it can go either in the body or it can go in the comments section, either way. Does anybody else have any questions about that? Oops. I'm looking for chat. Let's see, I'm looking to see if we've got any new questions here. I'll hang on for a couple more minutes in case, if for some reason, you've got questions and maybe I can't hear you, go ahead and put them in the chat area, and I will do my best to respond to them now. Okay, everyone, that's all I have for today. If you've got any questions, please feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. I'm happy to come out to buildings and work with all of you to make sure that we're navigating this okay. If you're seeing things that perhaps aren't on my screen, please submit a support ticket so that we can take a look and see what's going on. I know in looking at Ron's the other day, for example, when we were going through one of his observations, he was getting student growth information up in the domain area, which we found really odd. So again, if there are any concerns or questions about the system that you're finding, please submit a support ticket or give me an email and we'll work through it, okay? I am going to go ahead and sign off for now. If you've got any other things, feel free to reach out, and have a great weekend.